Mac and cheese. Everyone loves mac and cheese. It's delicious. And this recipe is a version of mine. It's not exactly, I cannot say that it's mine because I've tweaked it, but it's definitely a recipe that I learned when I was working at Biche back in 2009-10. And I learned it when a chef named Jennifer Nickel, who ended up becoming one of my mentors and very good friends, she ended up showing me this recipe. And it's, it was used with different ingredients, different cheeses, but the layering aspect of it is the same, because I really think that it creates an amazing mac and cheese with no bechamel, with no roux, with no flour. So anyways, it's I think it's really something. So I guess I'll start slowly. It's a few already minutes we're in. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to do a mac and cheese with a specific pasta that I think we have all seen this pasta shape. It's the pasta shape for mac and cheese, in my opinion, and it's called cavatappi. This is it. This is the one you want to buy. It's not. You can't really find it everywhere, but you can find it like Milano's. You can find it at other grocery stores too. But it's that's the one you want to buy. If you cannot find that, then definitely use a very thick pasta shape, like the half rigatonis, or you don't want something that's too thin, otherwise it's going to overcook really fast, because it double cooks, right? You're going to boil the pasta and then you're going to put it in the oven like a baked pasta, so you want it to be quite thick. So okay, we're going to start here. So I'm going to show you guys what I got here. So what I have, this is the kind of hard, actually give me a second, not the best angle. Here you go. There you go. So what I got here for my mac and cheese is my basic. My first layer is going to be right here, which is going to be shallots that are just been sliced really thinly around the mandolin, some grated garlic, and a chili, a half chili I put. And then I'm going to go with some white wine to deglaze, tomato sauce, a little bit of cream, and when it's cooled down, I'm going to add the cheeses. So I decided to add, you can add whatever cheese you want. You just want a cheese that melts really nicely. That's not going to like split easily. No matter what cheese has so much fat, it's going to split if it's really, really high in heat. That's why we'll get to that part later, but you want a cheese that's very melty. So I chose 3 cheeses, and I feel like there's 2 things that are, when people make mac and cheese, that really go wrong for me. It's 2 things. One is mild cheeses. You want a cheese that's intense. I want a cheese that's intense. And secondly, I feel like people overcook their mac and cheese and it becomes mush. And for me, that just does not work in my mouth at all. So it turns me off completely. So those are 2 things that are really important. So I chose Provolone auricchio, so really strong auricchio. There's 2 kinds of auricchio, which is already a stronger provolone. There's the one that has like the clear rind, and then there's the black rind that's extra strong. I use that one. Then I use Fontina d'Aosta, which is the DOP, which is the top Fontina. In the original recipe, there's actually Fontina. I just think it goes so well in it. You don't even taste it needs so much intensity that you don't even kind of like taste that crazy intense old moldy shoe smell of a cheese. Lastly, I have cheddar, and I have an orange cheddar because I like the color. I like orangey kind of mac and cheeses, and that's a personal preference. And I chose a really strong aged cheddar. They're all strong in flavor. And then I'm going to top it with pangrattato. So pangrattato, all it is coarse breadcrumbs that have been flavored. So I had some bread, I dried it out, I crumbled it with my hands really, really pretty fine. And then I rendered down some guanciale, and I just, with that fat and those pieces of guanciale, I kind of just flavored it with that on very low heat. And that's going to be my topping. You don't have to do that, I just prefer it. Pangrattato is like a blank canvas. You can literally flavor with anything. Anchovy, lemon zest, herbs, chili, anything you want. that oil and the low heat will just, and that bread will just absorb that flavor, and it's gonna make for a tastier, crunchy top. So we're gonna start now. So I'm gonna lower this. The heat's already kind of on, which is great. So I'm gonna start this with a little bit of butter. And the portion size that I'm making is a very generous 2 full-size portions, or four quite generous sides. So it's definitely not a little bit. So I'm gonna let that melt. I'm gonna add also a little bit of olive oil, not a lot, just a little bit. I don't want anything burning. Feels good. Cool. Okay, so I'm gonna let that melt. For starters. Okay. And as soon as it's melted, I'm gonna add in my shallots, garlic, and chili. I don't want anything to brown. I just want it to get nice and, like, you know, sweet and flavorful. That's basically it. Which is why I don't want it to crazy sizzle. So while that's warming up, because it can take a couple of minutes, I wanted to tell you guys, I have one in the oven that I made half an hour ago, 40 minutes ago, that's gonna be ready to eat. This process is gonna take at least 40 minutes if I didn't do this. So what I'm gonna show you guys is the actual sauce. That's the main point of the mac and cheese. And I'm gonna just run you through the steps afterward. And that's basic. I'm just gonna run you through the steps, you know, as to what to do to assemble it, and that's basically it. It's really, really, really simple. It just requires a little bit of, like, you know, prep beforehand. Claudia, is it super spicy? It is not spicy at all. There's this little chili that I put in. You don't have to put it in. It's my choice. I like things with a little bit of a kick, but you don't have to put it in. It doesn't create. The purpose of putting the chili in is not for it to be spicy. It's for it to just have it, you know, for another layer of flavor, of depth to be created. It's the only reason. But it's totally optional. You can totally omit it. Okay, sorry, guys. It smells so good already. There you go. Sorry guys, won't be very long. I'm gonna deglaze soon. You don't want it to cook too high because you don't want any caramelization. You don't want much. You want it to be a little golden, but you don't want much more than that because you're not looking for color, you're looking for flavor. You know, it's amazing because I smell butter now, I smell the garlic, and I smell the shallots. And I want it to cut really, really fine because I'm not gonna blend it afterward. I don't want it to be, I don't want big chunks of onion or tomato or whatever, or garlic. And, you know, some people, like, you know, like, you can totally blend it and make it a totally smooth sauce. I don't think it's necessary. I think that it's fine if there's a, you know, a little bit of chunks, seeing as, like, I slice everything so super fine thin. It's almost ready. And FYI, this is like a really fast sauce. If you're making it for 2 or 4 people, it's a total of like 15 minutes. It's not long. If you're obviously making a large batch, it's gonna take longer, but it's really not a very long sauce to make, which is great. And it also doesn't require a lot of like cleaning up or anything. It's like 2 pots, which is amazing. So it's getting dark here. I'm gonna start deglazing now. So I have some dry white wine now. Let that evaporate for like 10 seconds. And then I'm gonna put in my tomato sauce. So it's measured because I've actually standardized it for 2 people and 4 people. So I'm gonna post that afterward. So there's a reason why, you know, like you can ask like, oh, why would you, you know, why can't you put like the onions and the garlic and the chili and the tomato and the wine all together at the same time? Well, that's not going to create any type of depth, any type of, you know, real flavor. And, you know, things happen to onions and garlic when you let them caramelize because it means they become sweeter and more concentrated. Same with everything else. So it's really important to respect that. And now I'm going to add the cream. Yes, it is 35% cooking cream or whipping cream, either or is fine. But you want 35%, you want your mac and cheese to be full of flavor. It is not in any way a healthy recipe, but it's delicious. So now I'm just gonna stir it up. Perfect. I'm just gonna let it reduce for a few minutes, not that long. What I'm gonna do actually is add just a little bit of water, maybe a couple tablespoons, just to thin it out a little bit. So we can actually have the chance to. At this point, I'm gonna add a bit of salt, not a lot, because there's cheesy salt too, but you need actual sodium to bring the flavors out of everything. So I just added maybe, you know, a pinch. I'll write that down. Now I'm gonna let it kind of reduce. Okay, so it's looking really good. Another 30 seconds, and then I'm gonna like lower the heat completely, turn it off the heat, and put in the cheese. So it's really important not to put cheese in when it's on any heat or it's super hot. The cheese will split, it will break, it will separate, the fat will come out. And bringing that back is nearly impossible. So you want to take it off the heat, wait, you know, a minute, let it cool down, and then add your cheeses, slowly whisk it in nicely, it'll melt beautifully. And yeah, that's really, really important. So I'm going to show you this because we're almost there. I'm going to turn off the heat now. Obviously, I'm using a larger pan, so things kind of cook faster, so heat is off. It's that fast. And I'm just going to leave it do its thing for like a minute or so. I'm going to check when it's in the oven, which is nice and almost ready, which is perfect. Okay. So at this point, I'm going to remove the chili. I'm gonna leave it. If you're a person that doesn't like chunks in your pasta, or just doesn't like chunks, you can totally blend it. It may be a little bit difficult with this kind of amount. So if you have any little immersion blender, it's perfect. I'm not gonna blend, like I said earlier, I'm not gonna blend anything. There's no point in it. There's no point to it, in my opinion. Tomato sauce in the mac and cheese is interesting. It is. It just adds another layer of flavor. Honestly, you would never know there's actually tomato sauce in here. You really wouldn't. It's just really about like creating deliciousness. So at this point, I'm actually going to start adding cheese. So I'm gonna ballpark it, but it's around, again, I have the recipe written down, which I'm gonna post, but it's a lot of cheese. So I'm gonna show you guys. So I'm gonna start with, doesn't really matter, around 1/4 cup of each cheese. And again, I'm going to repeat the cheeses in case someone missed the cheeses that I'm using. Is Provolone Auricchio with the black rind, which is the extra strong. And I'm also using Fontina DOP, so it's like the king of Fontina, the only one you should really buy. And lastly, I'm using a yellow aged strong cheddar, because I think those 3 cheeses are delicious together. You can add any combo that works well. Honestly, you can add any cheese that's melty, add it, delicious. It's a personal preference, really. I wouldn't recommend using Parm or Pecorino, things that are more granular. I would kind of steer away from that. I would say a semi-firm is best. So it's almost all melted now. The chunks that you see are actually from the shallots and garlic and basically it. And now I'm gonna taste it. And that's basically your cheese. That's your cheese sauce. Wow. That's really good. So that's the sauce. Literally, that is the cheese sauce. The beauty about this sauce is that you can totally put it in a container and freeze it. It freezes super well. You can literally, like back in the day when it was the ceviche, we used to just cut it up, and when it was, because it solidifies, because it's cheese, it congeals, we'd cut it in portions, and when it was ready, we just thawed it, heat it up with a little bit of cream or water, you're good to go. So it lasts for a long time. So you can make this in advance and keep it in your fridge or your freezer, ideally freezer if you're not gonna use it long enough. And yeah, so it definitely is very shelf stable, that's for sure. I mean shelf stable, sorry, fridge or freezer stable. So again, for anyone that missed, this is the pasta that I use, cavapati. Did I say it right? Cavatati. I always get confused. It's my favorite, it's my ultimate favorite pasta to make mac and cheese with. It's not too short, not too long. It's thick, so you get to have like a bite of pasta. And I cannot stand anyone who makes mac and cheeses that has, you know, pastas that are thin, and that way, you know, it's easy to overcook them, and then it becomes mushy in your mouth. I'm not a fan of that. So I have one that's ready. I'm going to show you guys. So this I'm going to put aside. Put this aside as well. So, what I wanted to say also before I show you guys the other mac and cheese is, so I'm not going to show you guys the next step. The next step is actually boil your pasta till very al dente. So salted boiling water, cook it for around 5-6 minutes till it's very al dente. And because you're recooking, you're putting it in the oven again afterward. You don't want to be very generous with your cooking time. You actually want to make it very al dente, very important. Residual heat, even as you take it out of the oven, that residual heat is cooking the pasta. So you want time on your hands. So 5 minutes, drain it, get a big bowl, get your sauce out. If your sauce is from the fridge, melt it with a little bit of like maybe 2 tablespoons of water, just low heat, make sure it melts, and then just combine it in a bowl together, and then just pour it in a casserole or in a baking dish or whatever you have, and then top it with your pan grattato or your breadcrumbs. You can even put extra cheese on top if you want. And I would cook it in the oven at 400 degrees for around 15 minutes. And this is what happens. So this is it. So I'm gonna show you guys. This is what I did not long ago. So this is the mac and cheese that I made. And this is the exact portion size that I just cooked, and it's enough for 2 gigantic main courses or 4 sides. So it's a pretty generous amount. The pan grattato that I used is here. It's amazing. I literally dried some breadcrumbs, crushed them up when they were dry, rendered some guanciale, tossed it together in low heat on low heat, and then just crumbled it on top before I put it in the oven. So I'm going to show you guys this mac and cheese because I cannot wait to eat it actually. So let's see. Yeah, so that's basically it. That's basically it. It's amazing. Cheesy and not mushy and so tasty. So that is my mac and cheese. Sorry guys, it's very hot. Anyways, if you guys have any questions, please ask me. It's really straightforward and it's really delicious. I wanted to tell you guys that I want to, and I will actually, I'm going to be posting after this live. That I'm going to be doing takeouts again next Saturday. And I'm gonna be doing mac and cheese. So it's gonna be written all down. I have my breakdown. It's gonna be ready to eat. There's gonna be no cooking involved. It's gonna be literally heating up for 10 minutes, and there's gonna be a couple other items on the menu that I think could be really delicious. It could be either sold separately or as a combo. Anyways, just look out for my post. I'm gonna post it. I will story it, and if you're super interested, I'd be more than happy to make this delicious mac and cheese for you. How long do you cook the pasta? You cook the pasta for 5 minutes. The cavapati, I mean, it says on the, I don't understand why cook times on these pasta containers are so much longer than they should be. It's beyond me, but anyway. It says here 8 to 10 minutes. That's overcooked and much. For it to be very al dente, for a baked pasta, I would say 5 minutes max. And, tell what you taste it, if you taste it, it tastes like you can eat it, but it's still a little too hard, that's perfect. And if I would be cooking it for, ready to make, stovetop pasta, I would go maybe 6 minutes, 6.5 max. Yeah, that's basically it. Cool. Anyways, I'm going to leave you guys for this evening and enjoy my mac and cheese. If you guys want, please ask me questions. Glad to answer them. And I'm gonna please look for my ready to eat takeout menu for next week. I'm gonna post it right after this. DM me for orders. I'm super excited to make this delicious mac and cheese for you. Bye.